Hello and welcome to Access Paranormal. We are coming here from the Pod Cafe in Liverpool, our fourth show.
It is.
And joining me in the studio, we've got Jonathan Sullivan.
Hello.
And my son, Mark Williams.
Hi.
Now, you're wondering why my son's here. We'll find out a little bit later on. But first of all, Jonathan, we've got a little bit of a chat, haven't we? We're going to be talking about the Galleries of Justice.
The place I want to go.
Oh, you haven't been, have you?
I've not been.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? I have.
Yeah. One.
Yeah, we went over there, I think it was around October with Axiom Paranormal.
Yeah.
And what a fantastic place it was. I hadn't been there for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And there was only a handful of us there.
I know. I've heard the recording.
Yeah. Well, the first place we went into was they've come up on the picture in a minute, was the what's it called? The courtroom. No, not the courtroom, sorry. I put the wrong picture up, didn't I? Well, that's the Galleries of Justice. Down there is go heading towards the cellars. That's where the women do the washrooms and that. But that's the courtroom now. Sorry, my mistake there. And the courtroom was phenomenal.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Well, I frightened the living daylights out of a fella called Wayne, and I'll have to tell you a little story now. They'd all gone in before me. You know what I'm like? I take the odd photograph or two.
Oh, just one or two, yeah.
We were down in the basement, what you just seen there, where the washroom wasn't that.
Yeah.
And when we were down there, they'd all gone up into the courtroom, and I didn't realise I was taking the picture, so I went up to the courtroom, and when I got up there, they were calling out, so I whispered to Wayne, I was going, Wayne. Well, he nearly died on the spot because he thought there was a voice coming from...
He thought it was paranormal.
Yeah.
And it was you.
Yeah, it was not normal instead of paranormal.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. But on the night, there was only Axiom, me and Marie.
Right, okay, yeah.
And people have probably noticed Marie's not here on this one tonight.
Yeah.
She's doing a little bit of babysitting tonight, so she couldn't make it down.
Right, okay.
So anyway, we were down there, and I got brave. I went off on my own.
Didn't you go into a cell?
Went into a cell, yeah. And went in there with the task cam and everything else.
Yeah.
There's two cells next to each other. So I went in the first one on the left. When I was in there, sorry, not we, I was in there. And they were all setting up the cameras and everything else. So shut the door. And the REM pod went off. Just like that, straight away. So I thought it must be the task cam, you know. Yeah. So next minute, Donna comes running down. Are you all right, Jamie? I said, yeah, I'm all right. The REM pod's going off. So the REM pod was going off, so we came out of the cell thinking it might go off.
Yeah.
But it carried on, beep, 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 like that. So that's a bit odd, because I'm miles away from it now. There's no way it can keep going.
The only thing I've ever known to set a REM pod off is walkie-talkie. If you're quite close to it.
Well, if you think of a task cam, you're not pressing anything, it's just recording.
They don't know.
So anyway, everything calmed down, and I went back in again on my own and that. And REM pod was still bleeping away, so I just put up with it for a minute. Went off straight away, sat down, and I was calling out, recording and that. And we listened back to the recordings when we got home.
Yeah.
And we picked up sound. There was an actual voice on it. There was an actual whisper.
That's right, I remember hearing that, yeah.
Yeah. So it was really good. That was a good experience. Then we went deeper and deeper into it, because you've never been there, have you?
No.
It's huge. The place is huge. There's so many floors to it.
Oh, right, okay.
And we went the lowest of the lowest floor we could get to.
Yeah.
And there's it looks like a cave, to be honest with you.
I was just going to say, was it like a cave?
It was like stone, but it was like a curved circle, like almost a full circle.
Right, okay, yeah.
And when we were in there, we put the REM pods down, and we put all the trigger object stuff down to see if anything could go happen.
Yeah. All
the REM pods went off. Bump.
One after the other,
because what they've done is he said, "Can you make that one go off?" Off it went. Can you go make that one? That one went off. Then the other one went off, one after the other, as they asked them.
Well, that's good.
It was. I mean, I'd never seen that before.
No, I haven't.
Then there was like movements. You could see movements because they had like some kind of light.
Yeah.
And you see when if you run past the light, you see a quick shadow.
Oh yeah.
And that happened as well.
So really good then.
Fantastic. And then we done a naughty one. We went up into they've got a yard. Sorry, they've got a yard.
Yeah.
And in the yard, they've got a hang, where they hang people.
Right, okay.
Or it was a replica.
You didn't put someone on there.
May have. Anyway, we did, yeah. Shell went up there. I went behind it to record it. And we were doing the call outs and everything else. And the atmosphere just changed completely.
Did it?
Yeah, it changed even more when the woman going around. She said, "You can't do that, get off there. You're going to get into some trouble." So, well, let's get down. But I went round on my own while they were doing all. They went off on doing their investigation. And he said, "Just do what you want, Jamie. Go where you want."
Brilliant.
So, yeah, okay then. Lights were on.
Yeah, I bet they were.
So I went off round. Yeah, I'm in the so-and-so room. I'm in this room. I'm in that room. And there's a room. I'll put the picture up now for you. There's a room which you went into, and I was on my own. This one here. If anybody's watching on the TV there, you can see the chains and you can see there's a corridor out there. Well, this room was quite a big room.
Yeah.
I was in there on my own. Everybody all right on the walk? Said, yeah, I'm fine and everything else. I'm just doing this and walking all like that. And he went, okay then. So I went deeper in and I went to another part and it looked like a housing estate. It looked like an old house.
Oh, right, okay.
Like a street walk,
Yeah.
And I'd been told beforehand that this just past there's like a housing. I can't remember what it's called. I think it was called Queen Street or something like that. And as you go in, it looks like a street with the cart in it, and it's just come up on the screen now. That's it. There, you come through that door. And as you come through the door, the floor there's the proper stone.
Oh, like an original stone floor.
And they were telling us that underneath that are bodies.
Oh, right, okay.
Allegedly bodies. So as they're telling me, and I'm walking around, I'm going, yeah, it's great. There's and we're in. I'm here, and I'm in it, and I'm really cocky, enjoying myself. Like, boom, lights went out. Pitch black. I'd gone quite a distance.
You froze on the spot.
I nearly joined what was underneath the stones. I was like that. I thought, they're going to leave the lights on. I'm all right here, But when they turned them lights off, I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. And I thought, no, Thankfully, I had the torch in my pocket.
Oh,
so I was all right.
It makes a change.
Yeah. The only thing was I brought the torch with no batteries in it.
Even better.
So I didn't have the batteries. So I had no torch. And I was thinking, I can't get out of here. I'm stuck. So I just did a little bit of a call. I was hoping that nothing had happened.
Yeah.
What a paranormal investigator I am, hoping nothing had happened. There's knocks and bumps and that. But I just put it down to things cooling down because you turn the lights out. Yeah. You have to, don't you?
That's it, isn't it?
So I'm thinking, I don't know where I am in this section. I don't know how to get out. I don't know which way to turn or anything like that. Because when you're concentrating and you record, you don't think about where you are with the lights on because you think, yeah, straight through. So I'm now having to put my hands on the wall to figure my way out there. And the next minute you hear, Jamie, what? Like,
oh, no.
Yeah, Simon, you're all right, Jamie. It's only me.
Yeah.
I've just come down with the torch. I'm just setting up a camera. Oh, that was the best thing that ever happened. But the whole night was good. I mean, we were getting stuff in all different areas.
Yeah.
It's a place we must go.
Yeah, we'll have to go. I'd love to go.
Yeah.
Sounds... do you know, going back to where you say it looks like like an old street.
Mm.
Is it Edinburgh Vaults that I like that as well?
Yeah.
That's like...
That's
people lived there, didn't they? And it was like a street and houses.
You'd like the galleries because it's like history as well, and it shows you the old... what they used for the prisoners. Massive, big, solid lead ball.
Oh, wow.
Fancy having that on your legs? But
No.
they did.
You're not going anywhere, are you?
Sorry?
Not going anywhere.
No. Well, the other one was, there was like a cage shaped like a human being that they put them in with their arms out like that.
Oh, right, okay.
Standing up straight. And that was it. And then they hang them from the ceiling.
Right, okay.
So they're just there, hanging. It's quite gruesome, really, isn't it?
It is.
There was other...
People used to have.
Hmm?
The ideas that people used to have.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
What do you do with prisoners? Put Put him in a cage and hang him from the roof.
Well, do you remember, Mark? There was a film called The Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah,
It was
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio, yeah.
Yeah.
They had one of them there.
Oh, right.
The actual thing, yeah, not from the film, but obviously with the thing on him and that. And, horrible. What they used to do to them was just barbaric, really.
I know.
But it goes back, I think it goes back to the early 1800s, that building.
It's amazing, that, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you think about it, it was a proper prison.
Yeah.
There's a condemned man's cell here. We tried deprivation.
Oh, the sensory deprivation.
Donna had to go first.
Yeah.
And she was getting a lot from it. And what they'd done is they were asking questions through the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I've got to have a go with this. It's something you got to have a go of.
Yeah, it's good.
Not much happened to me.
Right, okay.
I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel any kind of uncomfortable situation I was in or nothing like that. I did hear my name come through the headphones I had on.
And
like a whisper. Yeah.
We've done that somewhere else, haven't we? A few of us done that sensory deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us did get our names. And some quite strange things, if you remember.
Was that at Mill Street?
Yeah.
And we were in the main hall in the far right-hand corner. Yeah.
That was a strange experiment, that.
It was, but it was
do
good.
That again.
Yeah, I'd like to do it again as well.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, have you got any opinions about that? Where you get
what is sensory? Is this where you put headphones on?
Headphones on.
Your eyes or something?
Headphones,
Yeah,
blindfold, and you use like a necrophonic.
What's that?
Or spirit box. Or
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's like the wireless radio going fast, and you, Jamie, hello. Like
so
that.
people ask questions, and obviously you can't know what they're asking. But if you get any words that are like significant, you just shout them out.
Did they ever do it without the spirit box and just seeing if you hear things? You know, like when you when you go to sleep, or like not even going to sleep, but you know, if you sit down to rest or something, and then you feel your mind slip a bit, and then you hear a voice, and, you go, and there's no one in the room, that kind of thing.
I've not tried it that way before.
That's an interesting one. They don't quite know what that is. I think even scientifically, they're not quite sure. I think a lot of these things get put down to like mind games or whatever, you know, tricks in the dark, that kind of thing. But there are certain things that can, because it's connected to psychosis. That, or sort of loosely, that everyone at some point in their life experiences psychosis to some extent. So, but there's like in meditation, that even in the Eastern countries when they meditate, this is where they say like they hear certain voices or certain communications. Sometimes, you know, when you're drifting off to sleep and you hear a voice and you like look around, and also you feel like someone walked by, but when you look, no one's there. That kind of thing. It's similar to sensory deprivation because you're closing your eyes. That sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that worth trying then? Just no sound.
I mean, I don't know if it's directly linked to the paranormal, but I know that I do a lot of reading, so it's kind of connected to sort of spirituality, and I think the New Age movement probably took it on, and then it kind of lies adjacent to the paranormal in a way, because all these things seem to interconnect.
It's all connected, isn't it? I'm going to say it's all connected in some way or another. I
think it's because all of it is a mystery, isn't it? People like to solve a mystery, but once you've solved a mystery, you don't like it anymore, do you? Because it's solved. So, like, I think certain, like, these kinds of, like, paranormal would not exist if there was no mystery, would there?
No,
you're
that's
investigating.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's how these things connect, because they're all mystery, aren't they? Spiritual ideas, paranormal, and then even religious and things like that. There's an element of mystery to it that seems to connect it all together.
Because we all dip into something different, don't we, to try and work out what's going on.
Yeah.
And but I mean, if you've never been to the Galleries of Justice, it's a must.
Sounds it.
Well, when we went, we only had from 8 o'clock till midnight.
Yeah, you don't get long, do you?
So, and if you're coming a long distance, it's not a lot of hours to do.
It's not really.
You know, when you go in at 8 o'clock, you've got the things to set up, so you've got another half an hour to an hour gone.
Yeah,
and you've got 3 hours to invest. You need a really good few hours, but I'd still recommend going. Yeah, even if you're not a paranormal investigator, go in the daytime and have a walk around, because the history in that place is just phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, I was mesmerised with some of the stuff and thinking what people went through in that time.
Yeah, definitely.
From the wash house to what the men had to do, to the hangings and everything, it's all there.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mark, we've just been talking about what you're, a little bit there, and what we have next is dreams. Let's see what happens about your dreams. So as we said, what's coming up now is my son Mark Williams. Now we managed to drag him in. We've been asking him to come in for a long time, haven't we? We finally pinned him down.
I know.
No more
So
excuses.
it's quite a privilege now, isn't it? We've got him here, you know.
He's trapped now.
I know. And Mark, well, what we've got him for is, I mean, when I said to someone we're doing Lucid Dreams, and he went, "Oh yeah," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, it's a great subject." And I was thinking, "Yeah, but you can't have like sex on the show, can you?" You know, like that. And he went, "Do you know what lucid dream is?" And I went, "Yeah, well, I thought it was something like that." And he went, "No."
Oh dear.
So anyway, they gave me a little inkling of what it was. And when I found out Mark was into lucid dreams, I said, "You've got to come on the show." So all I can say is welcome to my son, Mark Williams. And Mark, tell us what lucid dreams is, even for me.
Yeah, lucid dreams I've had since I was a child, and I didn't realise that it was anything different to the way anyone else dreams, because you don't really talk to other people about dreaming, or if you talk to other people about dreaming, you talk about the content of the dream usually, don't you? If you do talk about it.
Yeah.
But then you don't really talk about how you dream. Like, so lucid dreaming is like, my usual way of explaining it to people is, you know, when you're having a dream and then you realise you're having a dream, and then there's about 2 seconds where you're like looking around like, I'm in a dream, and then you wake up. That couple of seconds where you're perfectly conscious within the dream and you're looking around at the dream environment around you, that couple of seconds, because you're conscious, you're lucid. That's what lucid is. It's like us now, we're lucid, we're awake. So it's like being awake inside the dream.
So is that when you have a dream? Have you ever had, if I'm right, have you ever had a dream where you're dreaming, then you wake up and you think you've woken up, but you're still in a dream?
Yeah.
And then when you wake up, you're thinking, well, you're getting all confused.
I think it's related to lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it might technically be lucid dreaming, but I know that there's a few readings out there that you can get, a few books and things that kind of explain it, but it's all explained in the way of different cultures around the world. Because I've read like sort of like Native American variation of like, say, shamanism that seems to be connected to the idea of lucid dreaming, and then there'll be like, I don't know, Indian tradition and like Buddhist traditions and different spiritual traditions which seem to be tied to it. But the books that you can get specifically on lucid dreaming are all quite modern, because science has only just started really exploring it, because the way they proved it was interesting, really, because when you go to sleep, your body, your brain cues a chemical to sort of paralyze you. But the part of your body that doesn't get paralyzed is your eyes. So when you're in Rem sleep, your eyes jutter side to side, don't they? They like vibrate side to side in Rem sleep.
Can you explain what a REM sleep is?
REM sleep is REM is rapid eye movement. This is when you're asleep, because your eyes rapidly bounce side to side. That's the deepest part of your sleep, between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. roughly, depending on when you go to sleep. But that's like the deep sleep part. That's where you do the most amount of dreaming. So with that, when you lucid dream though, your eyes don't vibrate side to side. They look wherever you're looking in the dream when you're lucid. So
so it's like virtual reality.
the original virtual reality. It's like so lucid dreaming can actually be longer as well. It doesn't have to be that couple seconds where you realise, oh, I'm dreaming, and then that little burst of excitement kind of wakes you up, doesn't it? You feel yourself being pulled out, don't you? And you wake up.
Yeah.
So then, like, that becomes after a while, I started figuring out, oh, if I don't get excited, if I try and suppress that, oh, I'm dreaming, then I should stay in the dream, because the thing that's pulling me out of it isn't happening. So it takes a little while, because obviously when you realise you're dreaming, your natural instinct is to just be like, I'm dreaming. And then, but after a little while, you can kind of calm yourself down, and then focus. And then there's something I read in a book where you can draw focus into the dream. So instead of allowing your consciousness to leave the dream and go back to your sleeping body, instead you can look at your hands in the dream and do like a pattern on your fingers, because it takes focus, doesn't it? Because you're doing a pattern.
Is that what you do?
You can choose your own pattern, anything really, but I just sort of look at my fingers. Some people look at the feet and spin around on the spot because you're having to concentrate on what you're doing in the dream, which means your consciousness can't pull out of the dream, can it?
Right.
Sometimes
Right,
it
okay.
does because you lose focus and you pull out of the dream anyway and wind up waking up. But sometimes you can fall right back asleep and go straight back into the lucid dream, right where you were, or so many minutes later or whatever.
So is that you what can put you back into it? Or does it automatically do that?
Bit of both. It depends. Some people, because it's like practice makes perfect. There are different things that you can do that will. Most people have a problem starting to lucid dream, like the idea of being able to, because everyone's probably experienced what I described before, where you like realize that you're dreaming, and you have that moment of excitement, and you wake up. So for them couple seconds where you realized you were dreaming, that was lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Most people don't usually go beyond that because they get excited and they wake up. But so one trick was, like I said, just kind of staying calm. If you can kind of train yourself to stay calm and recognize when you're in a dream, and then your next thought should be, don't get excited, or if it's a nightmare, don't freak out. That one's harder because it's a nightmare.
It's going
I
to
don't know,
frighten
there could
you
be like a
anyway,
monster attacking you or something. You might freak out, and then
Yeah.
that's another burst of emotion. It's
Yeah.
more about controlling emotions, a bit like real life, really.
Yeah. But when you're talking about lucid dreams, how do you get into that? How can you, if you want to do this lucid dreaming?
There are different ways. So things that I've learned from South American, reading South American stories on how they do it, some of the tribes, is limiting the amount of red meat they eat, which I've stopped eating red meat, and because I wasn't doing it out of veganism or vegetarianism or anything like that. It was just like I want to see if it actually makes a
Works.
difference, and it does. Like even if I'm not lucid dreaming, my dreams are much more vivid now. When I'm just in regular dreaming, where you're kind of going with the flow of the dream, they're much more
Interesting,
vivid,
that, isn't
and
it?
it's like much more intense. And the idea behind it is because red meat is more dense and wet and heavier, so it sits in your gut longer because it takes your body
Right.
longer to degrade it. So your body's exchanging energy to degrade that, what it could be using on whatever lucid
right,
dreaming
okay.
is, that kind of idea, and also reducing the amount of sugar you eat and alcohol you drink, or things that I know you don't drink.
I was going to say I'm all
but
right with that part.
things like that, like sugar and
The sugar.
yeah.
No.
But
That's your
there's
fault.
things like that. Like it's usually the tribe's kind of advice for it is usually like don't eat red meat, or if you do eat red meat, it'd be like dried, where it's like well cooked bacon or something like that, where it
Yeah.
doesn't, because it's dry, your body can break it up easier, and you got that kind of thing. It's
Never knew that
there's
neither.
different things like that that you can do, and again, just trying to push down the emotions when it's harder when it's a nightmare, because obviously fear is like the
Yeah.
It's an automatic thing for you,
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
but it's probably useful in a way. It's like a training ground, isn't it? Because
Oh yeah.
don't get excited, don't get scared, relax, everything's
yeah.
okay.
Do you think when you're lucid dreaming, you're in control of it?
Oh yeah,
So can you bring people in who you want to bring into them dreams? Oh,
I've never tried that, but there are like people almost like like when you play a video game and you're the character, so you control the character.
Yeah.
But then there are the other characters that are computer controlled are called NPCs, non-player characters, because there's no player controlling them. It's a little bit like that. Like there'll be people, if you're in a dream and there's other people walking around, you can walk up to them and ask them questions, which is something another book said to try asking, just think of any question or whatever, or pre-plan a question before you go to sleep.
yeah.
So that when whoever you meet in a dream or whatever, you can ask them questions and they do respond.
So what got you into lucid dreams? Was it because you were getting these dreams and you wanted to understand it?
I'd always had them. Like as a child, I just thought that was just how everybody dreamed, and I used to be able to do it fluently as a child. That was just how I dreamed. Every so often, I would have a lucid dream, and I just thought that's what everyone's experience of dreaming was for. On and off lucid dreaming for everyone. But then it's only when I got older and I heard about the term lucid dreaming and I thought, what is that? So Googled it, because you can Google anything now. And then I realised it's not like the norm. I think everyone experiences it, like them couple of seconds I described before. I think everyone to some extent experiences it. But in terms of like I've had full length lucid dreams from like a full dream sequence where even if like the way dreams sometimes kind of change scene, where you shift from one scene to another, like the
like
scene
a
around
movie.
you changes.
Yeah.
But when you're just going with the flow of it in a normal dream, it kind of just happens, doesn't it? But when you're there, when you're conscious of it happening, things are changing around you. Objects in the room will change, or someone else will enter, or they'll be gone, or the person who was in the room in front of you will change in front of your eyes.
It's like a computer
It's
game.
a bit strange, yeah.
It literally is like having a virtual reality, isn't it?
But inbuilt, and when you go to
But a
sleep,
proper one.
Yeah.
and it's
So-
you can pick things up like. But the strange thing is, most of the lucid dreams I've had, if I pick up that cup, I can feel it in my hand. But in a lucid dream, it's not quite like that. In a lucid dream, it's not quite like you can pick it up, but it's more sight and sound, but not so much touch. But there are the odd couple lucid dreams where when I've picked something up, I've got the sense of touch, and there was the one I told you about where I genuinely thought I'd been kidnapped because honest to God, I've never had a lucid dream this real. But I went to sleep, and then I woke up upright in the back of a car, like I'm sat now, but in the back of a car, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I could talk, and I could hear myself, and I could hear, and I could feel like the clothes on me. Like you don't really think about feeling your clothes on you, but I could feel my clothes, and I could feel me. It was like being awake, like right now. How I feel right now is how I felt in the dream, and I was like, but I was in the back of a car, so I was like, "What the hell's happened?" So then, I looked around, and it was dark out, but I could tell that it was Grandma's Road. Where,
Oh, right.
It was Greenfield. I was looking around and was like, so I was like, what the hell? Then I thought, I've not been kidnapped, but I thought, have I like sustained some kind of like head injury where I've got like like Alzheimer's or some kind of like
That's just me,
thing where I can't remember what's happened.
After you.
Where I thought like maybe I've just had like a lapse in memory or something like that, and I thought you must have, because it won't have been Mum drove me to Grandma's Road. I thought it'll been you, so I was like, I was looking around, I thought I must be in Dad's car or something. And I was
So you
like,
thought your dad had kidnapped you?
but no, yes, but when you don't know what's going on, and remember I told you, I said I took my phone out my pocket, and it was my phone.
In your dream?
In my dream, I took out my phone because I thought I'm going to have to call someone. So then I opened up.
It's the ghost.
I pushed the button, screen lights up. It's got the screensaver of I have a screensaver of Hans Christian Andersen, a painting of Hans Christian Andersen as the background, the painting that you gave me from Grandma. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
And that was the background on the lock screen, and I opened up my phone, and I have a Bob Ross painting as the other background on my phone.
It's your whales, Mark. It's your whales.
Exactly. Happy little trees. And then I was like looking at it like, this is weird, because I was like, what the hell's going on? So then next minute it was playing a song, and it sounded like Guns N' Roses, and because I know Axl Rose's voice and the guitar, but I didn't recognise the song. I was like, this ain't no Guns N' Roses song I've ever heard. And then I was like, I don't have Guns N' Roses on my phone. I have it on my iPod, but not on my phone. So then I opened up the music app, and the letters started glitching. I was like, the hell's wrong with my phone? So then I was like looking around the car, and then this is the part that linked to a dream you had, where I had the phone in my hand, and I was like, Dad, like sat in the car, like, because I thought you must have driven me there, but like no, you recognise what's going on
about now, yeah.
So like this was in like October of last year when I had this dream. I actually recorded it in my dream journal and then didn't write anything else in my dream journal afterwards. And then my dad messaged me about a month or so ago.
You and Ian, what didn't I?
Me and Ian, because he said he had a dream about through his phone, like a phone call. He heard someone say "Dad" twice, and he couldn't tell whether it was me or Ian, because on the phone we kind of sound the same. Ian's my brother.
As clear as anything. Dad. And I was in bed.
Yeah, two dads. And then I was like, no, we're fine. 'Cause he was like, he was all right. I had a strange dream, and I was like, yeah, no, we're both fine. And then about an hour later, I was eating my tea. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I know just clicked. It like clicked. So then I ran back into the computer room and picked up my dream journal and flipped through, and the last entry was that lucid dream. I'd remembered having it,
and he was saying Dad,
and I was reading it, and it was like I'd written like and I called out for my dad. I'd said I was holding my phone and I called out for my dad, but there was like 4 or 5 months gap between the two dreams.
That's freaky.
And I'd never told him about the dream until remembered when he messaged me saying,
Yeah.
"Are you both all right?" And then at tea, I remembered and was like, "I've not even told my dad about
It
this."
was in the early hours of the morning. A message you did. I just went, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make sure they're all right."
Yeah.
I thought, I can't ring them because it's
No.
and it's one of those things that I can't ring them.
I'll
Even
just
though you
text
think
them
they're all,
anyway,
I'll
like.
text them now.
Yeah.
So
Ping them
message
the
and then
next
went,
morning.
"Mark, are you okay? Let me know as soon as you can." Ian, are you okay? And you
It's
both
the
replied and
weirdest
said,
thing.
"Yeah, Dad, we're all right. Well, yeah, we're
The
okay."
next morning, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
that's
felt
just
better
like-
then.
It was
It
only
was just
once
that
I
fear.
remembered. I was
Yeah.
like, and then I read it and was like, oh man. So then I added to the dream journal a little like asterisk with my dad had blah
Yeah.
blah blah dream and
My dad's gone loopy.
but it was
That's
strange
weird,
because
yeah.
this particular dream
That's
is
not
the
a-
only lucid dream I've had where I genuinely did not know that I
Mhm.
was dreaming until when my phone started pixelating and glitching. I was like, something's off about this. So then that's when I was like, Dad, and then I remember I tried for the door handle on the car and the car was locked. You know, like your car where the back door, the child locks on it
Yeah.
for the grandkids. And so I couldn't open it. So I was like, what the? So then I'm thinking, oh no,
I'm
it
stuck.
is real life.
Hmm.
I am awake because the door is locked like your car door always is, and I always have to wind down the window or get Ian to open the door. And then I was like, something was niggling at me, and I was like, no, it's too weird. It's got to be a dream. It's weird that I'd be
Yeah.
like, there's no way I'd be in the back of a car on Grandma's Road. So then you can kind of control things a little bit in lucid dreams. So a couple of times I've sort of moved clouds, like you can just wave your hand and
Really?
yeah, and it just kind of like it'll take a second or two and it'll move. But it's all intention based. That's another thing with lucid dreaming. It's just like if you just wave your hand and you're not intending anything, nothing happens.
So
But yeah, that is when I did that. The clouds moved, and it wasn't actually nighttime; it was daytime. But the clouds were causing it to look like nighttime, and the sun was there. And then when I moved the clouds, afterwards, I was like, "Oh, I'm in a dream. This is the weirdest dream I've ever had because it feels like real life." But then the clouds clouded back over again, and it was dark again. And I remember just thinking,
I know.
It is.
It's incredible. But can I
remember-
ask, Mark?
"Go on."
You know when you people say, "Oh, you were daydreaming and you're in your own little world of your own." Is that lucid dreaming? You know, have you ever done it where you must have done it yourself,
Yeah.
Jonathan, where you're just sitting there and you go into it and you go, and, you know, like we're looking at that picture there, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden you can actually put a story to that picture, like you can see somebody walking out
It's
of
not
the
quite
room.
mind
lucid
just
dreaming,
goes,
but I
doesn't it?
think it'd be a bit like meditation. Like sometimes people pick an object to meditate on, or in India they have mandalas. You know, the big murals. They look like you know, like remember Spirograph, where you could like get the pen and it'd make them geometric shapes. They have them in India, and some of them are used to stare at for meditation. You kneel down and stare at them, and then your imagination drifts off, and whatever you get from that, some people write it down or they retain it and use that for like some kind of spiritual guidance.
Right. And you know, you say you've had all these lucid dreams. How do you define a lucid dream to a dream?
Well, being conscious of it, it's like when you're dreaming, it's kind of your subconscious, and like, this is where the field of psychology is interested in, because you dream and there are signs and symbols or whatever's happening around you. Could be like a roundabout way of your mind's way of trying to let you know, don't do that. Or
Right. And if I wanted to do lucid dreaming, or Jonathan wanted to do lucid, just ask the quick question is going to be Jonathan. Jonathan, you my son, I can't even get your name right. I like that in work. Final question I've got to ask you is, if I wanted to go into lucid dreaming, or Jonathan or anybody else, how would they start?
Like I said, it's all intention based. When people know about it, they tend to start to remember. You know, like when I said about the 2 seconds where you go, "Oh, I'm dreaming," and people then latch onto that and start to think, "Okay, don't get excited." And you can kind of draw it out, and then it's kind of exploration. Then, you know, the hand thing, trying to draw your attention into the dream. It's all attention and intention. It's like one to the next like stages. It takes quite a while. It's not something that people are going to be able to just like overnight figure it
like
out.
Months or years or whatever.
Yeah, it's taken a fair few years of just experience, experimenting with different things and myself, and this is why I've like dropped eating red meat, and that works. And I eat and drink. I drink no sugar unless I'm somewhere and
People
someone
use
gives me a can of
meditation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, and the music, the frequency music on
Yeah.
YouTube, you can get binaural beats.
Yeah. Well, what
That's
we'll
right,
do
yeah.
is, because it's come to the end of the show, we're going to get Mark on our next show as well, and we'll continue with that because we want to get onto the binaural stuff, Mark.
Yeah.
So if you can, we'll put you on the next show as well, and we'll
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah.
Because I want to bring the dream part back into it and to the paranormal.
Yeah.
But because we've come to the end of this show, I'd like to thank Mark for coming in.
Yeah.
Even though I picked them up.
Yeah.
And it's been fantastic, that Lucid Dream. We've got to bring it on to
Fascinating.
continue with the Lucid
Yeah,
Dream because I'm
it's a
sure
big
we'll get
subject.
some people
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
about that. But I'd like to say thanks for coming in, Mark, and to you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And we'll be back again next week, and Mark's going to be on the show again because we've got to
All right.
continue. So thanks for the Pod Cafe for letting us do this again, and we'll see you all again next week.